Owonikoko is actually a Yoruba phrase, and it means money.
Yeah.
Why? What happened?
Box where they show.
We've all heard the common saying, money does not buy happiness. But this game proves that that is very false, because in this game, money is essential. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Meeples Monologue, the fun show where I talk about amazing games that I discover in my amazing life. And as I have said multiple times on this show already, my life is very amazing. If you know me, you would know. And today we are talking about Owonikoko. Owonikoko is Yoruba for money is essential, and the game shows just that. And we're going to delve into this game, and I'm sure you'll fall in love with it. So I think there are three main components that make this game what it is, and that's business, strategy, and betrayal. Because this game mimics the hustle culture of typical Nigerian life. That kind of buying and selling. How can I outsmart this person? How can I outsmart that person? That is what this game is. I don't like most games where it's like, oh, I'm focused on what I'm doing. This game, you can't focus on what you are doing, because if you focus on what you are doing, your success can be another person's problem and they'll come and attack you. So you have to jazz up. Now let's get to the designer of this game. This game is designed by Femi Olusanya. And when you play this game, you can clearly tell that this person understands three things: money, competition, and the Nigerian level hustle life. And the best way I would describe this game for somebody who has not yet played it or is not really into games, it's like Monopoly but on steroids. Like they brought the idea of Monopoly, the money and everything, and they added, let's make it more violent, let's make it more chaotic. That was exactly what the designer of this game said, and honestly, it made the game so much more better. Now let's get down to the graphics and illustrations. Just from when you see the box, let's even leave the name aside, because the name is a very, very Nigerian, has this Nigerian spice to it. But just from seeing the box, you see the Nigerianness in it. Like the characters are very, very clearly like traditional Nigerian people. And then when you open the box and you take the cards, you have the money cards. And the money cards are green, which I think, Nigeria, are you putting one and two together? So there are different money cards. You have 0, you have 5, you have 10. So it really depends. So you can be lucky, make you get 3-0 in a row. But you can also be lucky that you get 10 in a row. So who knows? And we have the actual cards for play. There are 4 different types of cards for play. You have the goods card. Goods are essentially just as the name implies. And then I think what I really like about this game is the fact that based on the color of the corners of the cards, you can kind of tell whether what you are doing is good or bad. Because red cards, see, looting. There's another red card that is robbery, and there are other ones like that. So I like it when games, they make it easy for like a beginner, someone who has never played games, to know that, okay, because generally when we think of the color red, we think of bad things. When we think of the color blue, green, we think of, good things. So it makes it very, very easy for someone who has never like really played games before. So I really love that. So now let's talk about how to play this game. I also discussed the turns, but let's talk about how to play. This game is played across 7 rounds, and your goal as a player is to be the richest player after 7 rounds. And of course, that's not going to be very easy, because if somebody notices that you're gaining more money than them, they will attack you. When gameplay starts, each player gets 5 cards. So let's assume these are my five cards. And then you also get 3 monies. There's no currency for this money, it's just called money. You get 3 monies from the lottery pile, because in this game there are 2 piles. There's the lottery pile that nobody can see, and then there's the open pile. The open pile is for, the classic selling of goods, when you do normal, legal selling of goods. But the lottery pile is for, well, not necessarily illegal things, but, not also the most legal things out there. So you get 3 out of this, and based on your luck, you could potentially get maybe 3 25s. It's quite unlikely, but you could. And you can also get 3 zeros. Again, quite unlikely, but very, very possible. So once you have your 3 monies and your 5 cards, game begins. So when gameplay begins, each player has 3 things they can do on their turn, or they can perform 3 actions. They can perform the same action 3 times, or do 3 different things. It doesn't really matter. It depends on you. So one of the actions you can perform is draw a card. Quite simple. Another one is to play an action card. And there are different action cards in this game. One is, see this says swap 1 money with another player. So the money now, it just there here, nobody can see it. So I can swap 0 for something else. Maybe I'll swap 0 for 25, and That's very beneficial to me. So that's the second thing you can do, play an action card. And you can also sell goods. So for example, these are what good cards look like. They are blue. So all of them look like this. So you sell a good and then you come to the open pile. That's the pile where the money is opened essentially. And you take one money. So those are the three things you can do. So as a player, you can decide, okay, this is my turn. I'm going to draw, draw, draw. That is three actions. Or I draw, play an action card, or sell. It really just depends on you. And there's also another kind of action that you can take, but it doesn't need to be your turn to take the action. It's called a counter action. And this is usually when a player is doing something you don't like and you have a card that can counter it. So for example, let's say a player played this card. This is recession. This means all players lose one money to the lottery pile. If I have a counter action card, for example, one of the counter action cards that we have is stop. Cancel players current. Is it current? Cancel. Eh? Cancel effect of select action. So you play this, and if you play this, this essentially nullifies this. So those are all the things you can potentially do in this game. And as I said before, at the end of the 7 rounds, you have to be the player with the most money to win. So all this one of picking cards is not about picking cards. It's actually about gaining money. And if at the end of the 7 rounds, two players happen to have the same amount of money, quite unlikely but possible, then we count based on how many goods they still have, essentially. So now let's go to difficulty levels. On the completely scientific Meeple Monologue scale, I rate this game, if I have to give it a score, for difficulty, maybe 3 out of 5. I'll say it's a medium. Yeah, it's medium, honestly, because the game itself is not like particularly hard to learn. It's quite easy to learn, though there are a lot of, let's say, component cards. There are a lot of component cards. That's the only problem that you might have, but it's relatively easy to learn. But where the main difficulty might come in for a player is the strategy, because this is a very, very strategic game. This is not just a kind of game where, I mean, all games involve strategy, but I would say this one is much more strategic than the average game, because it's not really okay, let me build this, and once I'm done building this, I will win. You don't really, it's chaotic. You don't really know what's happening. So honestly, I would say medium level difficulty. So, who is this game for? Now, on the board, it says, 3 to 6 players, ages 10 plus. But I strongly advise to not play this game with children because they will become enemies after that. Just my own opinion. Because I feel like this is a very, very, like, would I say, betrayal induced kind of game. This is not what you should be playing with children. But for adults, they will honestly love this game. So I'll say friends that, have like competitive side, they want to be strategic. And even though I would say it's a strategy game, I will still put it under casual game. Like, this is not a deep strategy game. On the case here, it says 20 minutes. So it's actually not a long game. It's just 7 rounds. Like, if I draw three now and somebody else does another move, we're done with the game. So yeah. And as for my final rating of this game, I would give it a 6.5. Yeah, I give this game a good 6.5. It's a very, very nice game. It's a very, very nice game, but I find myself not playing it that often. That's just it. But it's a very, very nice game. Like, if you are very, very, I think that's the problem. I'm not very competitive, and I don't like games that used to make me hate my friends at the end of the day. But if you are in for those kind of games, you will love this game. It's lovely. So, Owonikoko is a very, very real game, because at the end of the day, it's just about, trying to secure the bag, which is what we are all trying to do in real life. And honestly, I'll say you need to get this game on your shelf. Yeah, you need to get this game on your shelf. It's an amazing game. It's very chaotic. And, if you want to fight with your friends, fight is hungering you. You should play this game. So now we are at the end of today's episode. Sad, unfortunately. I know people want to see my face, but, all good things must come to an end. And if you played this game before, go to the comment, tell us what you think. Like, subscribe, share with your mother. I feel like this kind of content you share with your mother and your father. Tell us what you think about this game. And if you have any games you want us to, try, say it in the comments. Bye. Till next time.